Popcorn and lemonade, a human cannonball will do.
There are those who say The Greatest Show on Earth is the worst movie ever to win a Best Picture Oscar, but I say there are some good reasons why the Academy smiled on Cecil B. DeMille's 1952 circus spectacle, and it's worth a second look. I'm Bill Newcott, film critic for the Saturday Evening Post. Join me and Charlton Heston's son, Fraser Heston, as we revisit the decade of Hollywood spectacle on Movies for the Rest of Us.
We bring you the circus, the Pied Piper whose magic tunes lead children of all ages from 6 to 60.
Seldom do we get a big screen Technicolor view of a genuinely extinct creature, and we get one for sure in The Greatest Show on Earth. No, I'm not talking about elephants or tigers. I'm talking about the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, which producer-director Cecil B. DeMille commandeered to create this definitive take on life under the big top.
Behind all this, the circus is a massive machine whose very
The Ringling Circus folded its tent forever 4 years ago, but when DeMille trained his cameras on it, there was literally no other entertainment venue that could match it. Finally getting its first Blu-ray release from Paramount Home Entertainment, The Greatest Show on Earth is really two movies.
Pigeon, look. Out under the sky, you know how I feel about you. But under the big top, one performer's just like another to me.
You've got nothing but sawdust in your veins.
On one level, it's an unapologetically melodramatic drama about a hard-boiled circus runner, played by Charlton Heston in his first major role, feverishly trying to balance business with romance. You see, his girlfriend is the circus's top trapeze artist, but he's got to demote her to the second ring when he hires a new hotshot high-wire star. The girlfriend is perky Betty Hutton, the new guy is hunky Victor Mature, and pretty soon there's a three-ring circus of broken hearts and shifting affections. Then there's Angel the Elephant Girl, played by Gloria Graham, and Dorothy Lamour as the woman with the world's strongest jaw.
I guess you already have someone, huh?
Could be.
Is she in one of the towns we're going to play?
And oh, I can't forget none other than Jimmy Stewart as Buttons the Clown, who mysteriously never removes his makeup, not even between shows.
Oh, clowns are funny people, Holly. They only love once.
But all that plot material takes up barely half the film's 2.5 hours. The rest is basically a lushly produced documentary, chronicling the behind-the-scenes story of what was, at the time, genuinely the greatest show on Earth. For 3 months in 1951, DeMille filmed the circus in action at its Sarasota, Florida winter home. He had a literal cast of thousands. Besides the 1,400 stars, crew, and roustabouts who worked for Barnum, DeMille paid more than 1,000 local Sarasotans 75 cents an hour to sit in the stands, oohing and aahing on cue as the performers went through their paces. At the time, audiences may have considered this part as mere filler. After all, in 1952, dozens of circuses were crisscrossing the country. Who needed to see that? Well, here we are 69 years later, the circus is no more, and it's only thanks to DeMille's fascination with the circus that we have this record, meticulously filmed and lovingly edited, of a bygone chapter in American history.
They made it. Listen to that band. Hey, Whitey, can you see him yet?
I see him, Fred!
The Greatest Show on Earth marked the beginning of Charlton Heston's relationship with DeMille. Heston appeared in just 2 DeMille films, the last 2 the legendary director ever made. But those 2 films, The Greatest Show on Earth in 1952 and The Ten Commandments in 1956, were the 2 greatest box office triumphs of both men's careers. Add William Wyler's Ben-Hur in 1959, and Charlton Heston is the undisputed king of Hollywood's most spectacular decade.
Behold his mighty hand.
As The Greatest Show on Earth comes to Blu-ray, The Ten Commandments is getting the ultimate video release in 4K Ultra HD, a process that provides the exact same picture quality at home that you'd find on a giant theater screen. It's the only way to see a movie that, even today, boasts some of the most visually stunning scenes ever put to film. The fact is, as years go by, Cecil B. DeMille is remembered almost purely as a hopelessly old-fashioned cinematic showman, a guy who puts spectacle above everything else while treating his actors almost as an afterthought. I must admit I felt much the same way, so I was surprised when Fraser Heston told me that his legendary dad, a classically trained actor whose early stage work focused on Shakespeare, credited DeMille with making him a better actor.
He, of course, had done quite a few other films before Ten Commandments, including The Greatest Show on Earth for DeMille. I think he learned a lot from and certainly credited C.B. DeMille with a lot of his craft and later success.
It's interesting to hear you say that about Cecil B. DeMille and your dad, because I don't think DeMille is ever thought much as an actor's director, more of a spectacle director. To
Sure.
think that your dad actually felt that he learned something from him is something I'd never really heard before.
Oh, he did. He had a great deal of admiration for DeMille. DeMille was a perfectionist. He was a taskmaster, but he drove himself harder than any of his people. That kind of work ethic, I think, permeated the rest of my dad's career. And perhaps even I inherited a little bit of that nature. I think also he cared a lot about performance. He loved, it was a slightly different style of performance. It wasn't as subtle as some of Chuck's work, my dad's work in films like Ben-Hur or El Cid. But again, it's not a subtle story. It's not a subtle movie. But look at the cast. I mean, look at Bill Brenner's work. It's amazing. Edward G. Robinson, amazing. Yvonne DiCarlo, Ann Baxter.
Who is this fair young god come into the house of Pharaoh?
It's a little campy, but it works in that style of film. And after all, I think defined the epic. If you think of epics, you think of Cecil B. DeMille. If you think of Cecil B. DeMille, you think of Ten Commandments.
The Greatest Show on Earth is now available for the first time on Blu-ray, and The Ten Commandments is now available in a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray pack. I'm Bill Newcott.